So I got everything on Vanagon.org. I went with them. They're very helpful, and I want to help them out as well. So do as you do, but this is the way I went. All right, so let's get into it. So one thing I noticed with the Vanagon, since I had the engine replaced and everything replaced, it smells like gas vapor coming from somewhere in the engine, and I don't know where. There's the canister, and that is a cobweb. Shows you how much we've been using this thing. But it's time to track the problem down so I can park it in the garage for winter. All right, so let's get into it. By the way, if you're a Vanagon owner, this is something you'll do a lot. Oh boy, this thing's dusty. Yeah, you can smell the gas vapor, and I don't know where it's coming from. It feels like the center. Let's take a closer look. All right, so here's the Vanagon engine. This is a Go Westy iteration. So let's see what they did when my mechanic installed the fuel lines. See, this is the problem I'm having. These are way too long. It should only be like 2 inches, and then also the clamps that they used are not the recommended clamps, or whatever these things are called. We're gonna see if we can track this thing down and see what's going on. Definitely weird stuff. And we gotta remove this air box too. So I'm gonna be doing some investigative work, and then we're gonna replace it with the kit, which I'll show you here in a second. So here's where I bought it, Vanagon.org. He does recommend, by the way, and I went ahead and went off his link, the pincer, jaw pincers. I think that's for the, that's for those special clamps. I also purchased, even though you don't have to, a hose cutter, because I preferred it to be a very clean cut. You can find the instructions online. But then we have, these are the little clampy guys right here. So these are the recommended ones you're supposed to use, and that works with this guy. I haven't tried it yet, but hopefully that goes well. Oh, there's a cat. It's my daughter's cat. Okay. So we have a larger hose, which I don't know what that's for yet. Let's put this in a clean environment, not just directly on the cement floor. Okay, and then here's the rest of the hose. You get all of this, it's an interesting effect. All of this hose, and it's like one continuous strand of hose. You get that larger hose, and then you get these seals, which I think for the fuel injectors and some other ones. And then they give you a cute little sticker. Good job, guys. That's it. Now let's check out the directions online, and then we're gonna start this thing. Okay, first we have to disconnect the battery. Got one here, and we've got a house battery, and then I have this, which makes sure that I always have power to the battery. So I've got to disconnect this guy and that guy, and then we should have no battery power going to the engine. All right, it's towards the end of the day. It's getting a little chilly. But let's see what we got here. All right, so remember, again, my fuel rail, the way it was installed, is literally pressing against this radiator hose, which is not good. And this is only supposed to be maximum of 2 inches, and it is greater. I should have brought my measuring tape, but you'll have to trust me. It's, I think, 3 inches. So that's got to go down. And in fact, you can see some discoloration here, which I believe is gas. And then on top of it, this clamp, I'm going to attempt to zoom. Yeah, that clamp is a weird clamp. You can't tighten it more. I do not know why they use those type of clamps. I will start with this one. This is kind of an interesting junction. So you've got from the gas tank here, so from the front, the way the Vanagon works, this is gonna bore some people. You got your gas tank filler here with the gas tank itself riding right around there. Okay, and this is the filler. From there down, and from here, it rides along, and then right around here, you have the fuel pump. Yeah, let's go down there. I have a couple of problems. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, there it is. Actually, I was off a smidge. There's the fuel pump right there. So, yeah, here you can see the, oh yeah, and there's like a filter. What the hell do I have here? Excuse me. But here they've insulated it. This is all very well done. Arturo did a great job there. And then this, it continues the filter. So you've got the fuel pump here, fuel filter here, and it's pushing the fuel that direction. And so, yeah, it goes that direction. And then from there, it comes up, so you get perspective. Then it comes up, and then if I separate, these new hoses are hard to get, but there's the old school, there was a plastic junction. I don't have that anymore. If I can ever get to this damn thing. But behind this, oh, I can't get to it because it's zip tied. It was pretty tight right there. But behind here, you'll have to trust me, there is a hose. That's it right there. Which comes down, and in fact, you see, it's that right there. I'm moving it because I'm moving this. So this is the inlet, and then it splits at this junction. One goes to the passenger side fuel rail, and the other goes to the driver's side fuel rail, which is this guy here. And then goes down into the fuel rail, and I have some upgraded aluminum. You know, sometimes too with engines, you upgrade it, you upgrade stuff and you think that's better, and sometimes it's worse. I can't explain it, but I went with aluminum fuel rails. I hope that's good. I don't know yet. But anyway, so then it goes through here, and then it pushes with pressure, right, gas down into the fuel injectors, and then it circles through. So it's like a circulatory system, right? It circulates back this way, going into the fuel pressure regulator. And then, so again, here you have this junction. Now up above, you have this fuel pressure regulator, I believe it is called. And then this is from the driver side. This is the passenger side. And this is a return that's going back to the tank. So it's like your blood circulation going through. And then this part, I have no idea what the hell, how this all works. But there's a vacuum effect that's going on. And between the carburetor thingy, if they call it that, it's complicated. But anywho, enough of that. So let's dive in. We're gonna start with the directions. I'm gonna put a paper towel thing under here and I'm gonna loosen this guy and some gasoline is gonna come out. So let's see how that goes. And we gotta remove this air box too. Okay, let's hope this goes well. The battery's disconnected. I haven't ran the engine in well over a few days. So I'm gonna stand back. I have protective gloves on. Okay, it loosened. Looks like yeah, it's definitely loose. Okay, I think he said not much comes out. Okay, well that was easy. Drama-free so far. On to the next step. Okay, so now it says on the driver's side fuel rail, you loosen the two outer lines. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then you should be able to remove them. They say Phillips head. Mine, again, these are not the clamps you're supposed to use, I don't think. Okay, so I have the hoses loosen. Let's see what comes out. Really not the best. Trying to film and do this at the same time. That's why sometimes YouTubers are just, they pull back and go, you know, I had to do this without filming. Okay, I was able to loosen these and make sure you got a catch pan underneath. I had some aluminum foil in that. So that came off. It's kind of, you have to twist it and pull. Same with that side. And then now pull the injector cables, the connectors. This one's kind of came out a little bit, so I'm gonna try to fix that up a little bit. But they do kind of like you squeeze and then they come up. And then my forward ones, I think the mechanic put a zip tie on so you know that's the front. That's the front, and this is the back one. It does not have one. But essentially here it is, and you squeeze. It's not easy at all. Well, that one I got out. Oh, there. It seems like a bit of guesswork. I don't know what's going on, but use some electrical cleaner maybe to clean those out. Okay, so I got those off. And now I just need to undo this bolt, 10 millimeter, and then that will free the injectors and that whole piece there. All right, so we're day 2. Working on the engine here, replacing the fuel lines. So you could see last night the way I left it, you don't want to leave stuff just open and exposed. So it's just, this gas line is just loosely connected just to protect, and so is the far one. And then I've removed the connectors. So here are the connectors for the electrical for the fuel injectors, which you can see there, which those were brand new. I have those brand new. So what I'm curious about is with this fuel kit that I bought, they also give you rubber seal. I don't recall if I gave my mechanic brand new rubber gaskets there. So we're gonna check that out. So my next thing is, now that this is disconnected, it's easier to get to this bolt here, and I've already loosened this, obviously not with my hands, but I think it's a 10 millimeter socket. And then after I can pull that bolt out, then we should have access to this fuel rail with these two guys connected. So, and the same, of course, is on this side. And I still wonder, when they were designing this engine, who thought this was a great idea? It's just so weird to me that fuel, gas, would just be like flopping around on either side like dog ears. Somehow this madness works, and in a lot of ways it kind of doesn't, because here I am all these years later doing all this stuff to it. So I don't know how many cars have this design, but this is just bizarro if you ask me. All right, let's get into it. I was gonna say too, along with keeping the the lines connected there after you're done working, also make sure you block off any of the removed components. This guy's pretty loose as it is. I think I can do it with my hands. This is also a good opportunity to clean off the engine. With all this stuff removed, it's so much easier to get to. Although my engine was just replaced, I did the paint job afterwards. And then you got all this debris from when they were sanding and everything else. Okay, the bolt is now removed. So that's what that guy looks like. Now that should just come out. This thing is connected. Oh yeah, oh, wow. Let's see. So you got this guy. Make sure too you have a catch pan or something underneath for the fuel that comes out. Not a ton comes out, but yeah, like see there. You're gonna get some. So just be prepared for that. And then this comes out like that. There, that's that piece right there. There it is, and that's with the aluminum fuel rail. Yeah, the O-rings, which I'll show you in a second, they look cracked around the edges if you ask me. So I'm gonna, with my screwdriver. You're supposed to just, yeah, there we go. Pry it out. Let me show you what we got here. See that cracking? That's not great. This is the thing I notice is when people work on your car, they don't necessarily, I mean, my mechanic did a good job, but I still think when people, it's not their stuff. If they're not as particular as you are, you're just not gonna get, always the best result. And I've noticed that a lot in the Vanagon community, from Go Westy to another mechanic up there, and even to my own mechanic. It's learning to do stuff on your own as best you can, I think works better than relying on other people, because they don't always, I would say, care as, oops, okay, well that just went flying. They don't always care as much as you might. So that's been my experience. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Here's a better view, hopefully, of there. There's where the fuel injectors go, and you have the little rubber things that go around, and there's the mount for the fuel injectors. So that's on the passenger side, and now I'm going to remove the driver's side. Again, I did the same thing with these fuel hoses. They're just kind of resting against those end pieces, because I did that yesterday. So now I'm going to remove this guy, and I'd already loosened the bolt, and they do just kind of come right out. So I'll keep filming, because sometimes some people like shorter videos. It's like, don't give me all the detail. Some people are like, well, how did you do that? And like, I did one where I replaced the gas, the liquid propane tank. And then the one mistake I would say that I did when I filmed that
is I fast forwarded so much the unscrewing of the original tank that even I forgot which direction, because it's not like a righty lefty. Now, what is it? Whatever. Anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna film this whole thing, and you have the spark plug wires, which are kind of in the way. I have these little spacer things because I just dig them. Now these are too long. I mean, this is what irritated me when I had this engine put in. I kept telling my mechanic this shouldn't be touching. You have a hot, or what will get warm anyway. What is it? Radiator hose, and that one there, this one there, and yeah, it's just, to me, that's not smart to have that damn thing touching like that. How did he even put this in here? It's just not, that's not good. Not good at all. I'm gonna loop it around this way. Trying to do this with one hand. Okay, we got it. So that's what the other one looks like. Again, these are new. So I don't think I got any issues there, but these are just too long. Not a fan of how that was done. All right, let's get the other little rubber gaskets out, and then we're gonna cut some new hose. All right, so I don't know where the other rubber gasket went over there, but they all have the same problem. See that cracking? That definitely is, because we were smelling gas vapor, so it could have been leaking, if you will, the vapor leaking from these fuel injectors, and the same with this other one. And I just, to all the mechanics out there, do a better job telling people what they should do. Don't just move on. Like, it's about the quality, not just like get shit done. So, all right, so for the passenger side rail, undo this, get this clamp off. I really don't like these. And I'm gonna get the measuring tape. We're gonna see how long these hoses are. Okay, so I removed it. You definitely want an area that can catch. Not a lot of gas came out, but enough. So these are the fuel injectors. Now I have to see how this is kind of an interesting junction here. Look on the directions and see how these come out. So let's measure the way these hoses were cut. And already I can see two different lengths on this, which is weird. In fact, they look like two different hoses. So what do we have, like 2.5 inches? And what the Vanagon guys recommended is 1.75 to 2 inches. So that's too long. And then this driver's side, which was really touching the radiator hose, which is not good, is a good 2 3/4 in length. So I'm shortening these guys up too. Okay, so these hoses, the way they're connected isn't so much a clamp. They are like jammed up in this thing. So you do have to carefully. So what I did is I didn't go all the way down touching plastic, but I went into the hose to kind of disrupt it a bit. And I'm gonna try twisting it again and see if I can get this thing to come off. I'm gonna be careful not to touch the fuel injector tips too, by the way. All right, so I'm gonna show you what I did to get this thing off. So it was obviously attached like this one is, and I did cut it down. I don't want to film, I don't know what always works, right? So I did cut it down carefully not to get that close. So I started with half and then worked it down a little more. And then with the pliers, I was able to squeeze the tip, which kind of, I think, caused the other side to flare, and I was able to pull it off with pliers carefully. I didn't damage anything, and that definitely worked better. So this end is up. I'm going to try to keep them in the same platform. It's kind of interesting the way that works. It's just a little shroud thingy that goes over on that side, which holds that on. Again, what's with Germans and gasoline, the way they play with it, just loose and fast. All right, so the kit also comes with new gaskets, I believe they're called that, which replace these. Again, I don't know if they replaced these new ones. They don't look too bad, but since I have new ones here anyway, I'm gonna replace them and clean off the dust and go from there. And then we'll put these little end parts on as well. All right, so here's one of the injectors, because I was wondering, like, how far up does this go? How do you know? And I couldn't see, but there's a groove here. So obviously you push that up through there, but you need this through first before you put that, or it'll be a problem. So that's that one, but let me show you, and I'll remove this one. So it's kind of hard to get started. You kind of have to roll it like that, and I'm being careful not to push on the injector, even though it's not poking out. I just don't want to mess that up. See, it starts to roll down. There we go. There, and it comes off. So you just you have to roll it and then kind of work it around, and then it comes out. These look like they're, yeah, these are in still good condition, but again, I have new ones. I'm not going to risk it. Those are going in the trash, and now you can take these out. I'll do that so I remember which one's which. And now I'm going to clean this one off here ever so slightly, just carefully, just clean around and get the dust. Okay, so I've kind of cleaned that off. I cleaned this thing off. It would be fun to spray paint this, probably with like some high temperature paint, you know, but it's okay. Maybe another time. For now, I just want to get this thing back and going. So remember to, like, I looked at the other one for reference, just so you don't want to forget how this goes on or which direction this guy goes on. Slowly work it. There we go. There. It jumped on. And then now put this little end piece. There we go. Now everything is good to go. We just need to cut the fuel line now. All right, so again, what they're recommending is 1.75 inches to 2 inches. This is the fuel line hose here, 5/16 or 7.9 millimeter fuel line, Continental brand. All right, so I'm gonna show you now. I settle on the 2 inch, 2 inches or 5 centimeters. There you go, and that's it. You have a nice clean cut. These are the same size. And sliding them on is really easy. They just go on like that. Now we have to put these little clamps on. See how easy that is? Okay, good. And then for these, I'm gonna look online and see how he did on my... Okay, I crimped one there. And here's one. I'm going to take this tool and you go. And it comes up like that. So I have these on the outer edges is the way I placed them. So they're going to go into the fuel rail. Oops, sorry, driver's side. So fuel rail. So this one's on this side, outer side, and this one's on the outer side there. And so now we'll put two more here and then slide it on there and then crimp those. All right, here's a tip I wish somebody told me. Initially, I did not have this clamp on when I was sliding the hose on, and then I put the clamp, as you would think, naturally, and you just slide it on. These get really tight right around the tip of the connector, so it's better to apply this at this end and then put it on, as in you can just get it like that. Give yourself a little bit of room. Go. Gotta go a little tighter. And I'm setting mine up to where when you bolt it in, these clamps are on this side. And you don't really want any play there, so I gotta push it further. Okay, so when you're all done, you should have your passenger side and your driver's side all ready to go. Now what I'm gonna do is put in the new fuel lines for the junction points, so see how that goes. All right, so this is the the driver's side fuel line that comes from the junction point, which has the T intersection. So this is from the fuel pump tank, right? From the tank fuel pump into this T section that splits off to the passenger side, the driver's side. I'm gonna remove the driver's side now. I already loosened it. So with all of this stuff, it's kind of tricky. And then I'm gonna have to rerun the line. I think I may have to completely remove this thing. All right, so if you ever wonder what this T intersection thing looks like, that's what it looks like right there. Okay, I'm gonna install the driver's side fuel rail, fuel injector stuff first before I replace the line and measure. Somehow I need to film. I gotta go this way. Be real careful to get into the holes. I don't want to get the fuel injector part dirty. Just so you can see what I've done here, I've attached or screwed in that one. I've connected this guy in. Now I'm going to connect this one. It just clicks. Filming. Oh, I'm rusty, man. I haven't filmed in 3 months. That's connected now. Yeah, there we go. This was that before, by the way. This little thing came up already, so see if I can fix it, but I think that's the way it is for now. To get this thing on, it was much easier to remove this one, and then I could put more leverage on that to get this thing slid on, because these things are already pretty damn tight, all things considered. So then you take your clamping tool or pincer tool or whatever it's called, and then I made the hose long enough to where I can have it more out like that. Because again, there's no exact science apparently with this thing. And going to crimp it. There we go, and that thing's on. I mean, I must say, when these things are on, they're freaking locked on nicely. So this next one kind of snakes down. This is the return here of the fuel rail. And it goes into this fuel pressure regulator. All right, so we are done. I just have to put the air box back, but everything's nice and clean. We've got that gap in between the hose. You got that. Everything with fresh lines. So the fresh connectors there on the fuel pressure regulator. Down here on this valve. Now I didn't run, these were already new from the prior install, so I'm not gonna redo those. It's gonna be a lot more work, and I don't think that's where the issue is. So for sure now, this is all new, these all new lines, and that looks all good too. Perfect. So when you before you close it up, make sure these are well connected again. Double check your connectors. Double check to make sure you crimped everything, because sometimes like you set it on there and you're like, oh yeah, I got to do that again. Make sure you also retighten that little bolt there. And then what I'm going to do is put the air filter back on, and then we're going to, don't forget to connect this too, by the way. I've done that before and it runs really rough and you're like, what the hell? So make sure you do that right. We'll be connecting this guy back up. I'll run it for a few moments and then I'm gonna turn it off and I'm gonna check for gasoline leaks, things like that along the fuel rails. I'm also going to clean up some of this stuff here too. So I got some of that going on, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, so it's kind of bad timing because I had to hose some stuff down, but what we want to look for is drips. So we don't want any dripping going on. I have a fire extinguisher nearby. So we're gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna run it for a little bit. Hopefully it starts, hopefully everything's good. And then I'm going to kill the engine and check for leaks. So let's see what happens. Did you guys see anything? I'll have to play it back. Let's just take a quick look right now. No, I don't see anything. Looks pretty dry. I think what I'm gonna do is relocate and look for a dry spot and try it again. But that's a good sign. It sounded good. Woo, cool. No leaks. That little drop over there was when there's still some water from when I was cleaning up. But now the real test is gonna be, do we have any kind of fuel vapor? And so far, I know this thing's closed, but on the side, I'm not smelling it, which is good. Let's remove this guy. Nothing. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, because that was definitely the problem. I don't know if it was here. I think it might have been a combination of what was going on there, because the gaskets for the fuel injectors, you saw them in the video, they were cracked. And same on that side. So it's all been freshened up. That's good. I still have, and I'm wondering if somebody can help me out here. There's a noise. It sounds like there's air in the fuel line or something. Where is it at? Where is it at? Right here. The fuel pump. Mine has been insulated, but somewhere, like when I turn this thing on, it makes a noise, and I'm trying to isolate it, but man, I'm so glad I got the vapor thing. I can park it in the garage now. But here, let's see. I'm gonna activate it and see if you can hear it. I know there's other noise, but let's see what we can hear. I'm just going to activate the starter part, but not turn it over. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over. Well, I don't know. That seemed to have fixed it. And you know, too, like when you first start it up, there's going to be issues with it. But now I'm going to give it a bath. And then the real test after, and I keep saying the real test, the next test is after I wash it. I'm going to put it in the garage, shut the door, and then I'm going to check and see if I smell gasoline. But if not, I think the guys over at Vanagon help me out. All right, y'all take care, stay safe. Let's look forward to a good 2021.